The I am is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, and he leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of Yahuwah forever. Yes, yes. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have sway over the thoughts of men's hearts. And let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. A prayer of Abraham. We just read from Psalms chapter 23, and we thank God, yes, because God is our portion. Yes, the Almighty is our portion. Our Creator is our portion. And we truly give him the glory and the praise, as well as Jacob is his portion. All those that would obey his law, statutes, commandments, and ordinances are the portion of the Most High, namely Jacob, and then those that follow. And we thank God for all that he has done. Yes, all his deliverance, all his mercies, all the favor that he's shown us because of our obedience, because of our having confidence in him. Yes, do you not know that having confidence in the Most High is the same thing as obeying his statutes, commandments, and ordinances? Yes, it is, even his laws. These show our confidence in him. When we stand up to adversity, when we stand up to our enemies, when we stand up and be counted before the Most High, this is when we are most in our state that we should be in, because we are obeying. He says, if your enemy smite you, smite him back. Come on, yo. I mean, this is something else. He said, thou shalt not commit adultery. Anything outside the realm of marriage is adultery. I mean, anything. Because the word fornication wasn't there at that time. Adultery could mean bestiality. Adultery could mean, should I say, sexual intercourse between two unmarried peoples. Anything. Thou shalt not lie. Lie is anything. Embezzlement, deception, conning people. That's lying. When you're a con artist, that's a lie. In other words, the liar, they're either going to repent or they're going to be put to death. One of the two. This is the way this is the way God was. He was very absolute. He still is absolute. The same laws still stand. You can be meek and humble and everything, but the fact is that you stand your ground in the commandments. See, God gives you liberty here. He gives you liberty that you might stand and be that man and that woman who you are. Or you can fall down under the guise of compromise. Well, it's just a little bit. But nevertheless, we're in the book of 1 Samuel. The book of 1 Samuel's chapter 22. Yes, chapter 22. We just finished with chapter 21. Now, David was eating the showbread at that time. He was on his run from King Saul. He wasn't appointed king at that time. He was anointed king, but not appointed. And they knew that he was the king. He was the king elect from God, not from man, not as your presidency or whatever. It's not no democracy there. There was a king. There was one who would rule, and God is the one that will rule forever. I mean forever. There was no end to his rule even to this day. He allows you to have your way because he is meek, to let you see that it will not work. Man cannot rule man because there's too many other spirits at bay here. Too many others. at bay, that has the power to sway men's hearts in their thoughts of greed, jealousy, envy, strife, lust, desire. These things are all here to show you, even with the David, that man cannot rule man. The spirits will turn him, period. He is weak. Yes, mankind is weak and cannot do those things. But with God, we can pattern ourselves after his commandments, statutes, and ordinances, and we will remain strong. We don't have to follow a king. We don't have to follow, because in following God, we will follow all laws. Unless the laws of the land are against God. And many laws were, as we shall see. And now, in verse 22. So David left, and he ate the showbread to give them some strength, because they were hungry. The men had not done anything wrong as far as sin was concerned, so they were worthy to eat of the bread. Yes, and David at one time, he had to play like he was crazy in order to save his life, in order to seek asylum in another person's land. And they deemed him as mad, which means crazy or mentally ill. Okay, for those of you who do not know. And now we have David in chapter 22 and verse 1. David therefore departed thence. Thence from what? The king, yes. And escaped to the cave of Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontented gathered themselves unto him, and he became a captain over them, and there were with him about 400 men. This kind of sort of reminds me of the president of Burkina Faso. I mean, the people looked at a man that had great ideas, and they joined themselves to him, and they would give their very lives for him, because the fact is, his desire was toward them, and he's selfless, as we see. But the powers that be, like King Saul, are against him, because they have lost their power over the people of Burkina Faso and all the Sahel, should I say. And now you have new members that have grown to join that alliance, even so-called the AES. Now, it says, and everyone that was in distress. I mean, these people came to him. Now, people are joining the AES because they are in distress over these people who are really poor and want their resources. Not only their human resource, their resource of the land, and their resource of their knowledge and labor. Many of you go to different countries with your potentials and find out your potential could have built your country up even to those well above those that are the ones that are putting you down. But this is all by design. God is allowing this country to be put up, and he putteth one down. And these are yet to be seen, to be put down. Even what we would call the West, to be put down. It's just so God is working in his time. It's going to occur. It's just the fact that God has to put them down, and those nations that oppose and terrorize those countries, God would also erase them too. Now, let us continue. Verse 3, and David went thence to Mizpah of Moab, Mizpah in Moab. And he said unto the king of Moab, these are his cousins, really, they are his cousins. Let my father and mother, I pray thee, come forth and be with you. Now David has sort of the heart of his father. His father, yes, even his father Jacob, his father Abraham, they believed in taking care of their father and mother. So he says, I want my father and my mother to stay with you. I pray thee, come forth and be with you till I know what God will do for me. In other words, take care of them for me. Please, take care of my father and my mother. Not like the United States or anywhere else, my mother and my father. His father was one that stood up for him. This is the way of the children of Jacob. The father is the one that everyone gathers around, is the father. Regardless of how he is, they still join themselves to their father. Period. It ain't the fact the father got to be all that good, but that it's just their father. That's it. This is the way they were taught. This is the way God is. You notice even in the New Testament how they put away the father, even Joseph. Joseph is rarely mentioned, but Mary everywhere, even worship to this day. The blasphemy of the people that are idolatrous. And this is a part of Egyptology. Yes, it is. But let us continue. And verse 4, and he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while David was in the hold. Yes, Moab, his mother was a Moabitess. His mother was from Moab, period. Ruth, yes, she was from Moab, the wife of Jesse. Yes, Jesse took a hold of her because she was the wife of his brothers or his kinsmen, which had no brother, but he took her and bare seed unto his kinsmen. Yes, he did. Oh, glory to God. Carrying out. A righteous man. God chose a righteous seed. A righteous man who would give seed to this woman to birth, even to the point where David is born. Abide not. And the prophet Gad said unto David, he said, abide not in the hold, depart and get thee to the land of Judah. Okay. And then David departed and came to the forest of Hareth. Yes, the forest of Hareth. He said, I want you to abide here. God said, don't stay here. This is what he's saying. And when Saul heard that David was discovered and the men that were with him, now Saul abode in Gibeah under the tree in Ramah. Now Gibeah was on the other side of the Jordan or the Dead Sea. It was on the south. It was south as far as the Dead Sea. Having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. That was the spear that Goliath, whom he had defeated with just a sling as a lad. And then Saul in verse 7 said unto his servants that stood about him, hear now, ye Benjamites. Now this was Saul's people. Now David was among his people. You notice that he said he departed. He said he got to the land of Judah, then departed and came to the forest of Hareth. Think about it. And when Saul heard that David was discovered and the men that was with him, Saul now abode in Gibeah under Ramah in having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. Now where was Gibeah? Gibeah was he wasn't that far from David, because the part about David was Judah was like in the land toward the east, or should I say southwestward, near the Dead Sea. Now the Jerusalem that you see in the book of Jubilees in Jasher, that was the Jerusalem where the king of Jerusalem was. There was a Jerusalem there before time, but they had a new Jerusalem, which was what? In the southwest. Just right near Telerad. It was in Telerad, the temple, the city of David, and the whole region of Judah was in that area. But they would have you to believe different by their maps. Now, but the Bible speaks differently as far as the writings, the ancient Ethiopian writings, yes. Now, and all that of you are conspired against me, and there is none that showeth me that my son made a league with the son of Jesse. Now there is none of you that is sorry for me, or showeth unto me that my son has stirred up my servant against me to lie in wait as this day. You know, this jealousy has consumed Saul because he's going to take his place. Sometimes it reminds me of the country that I'm in, and how that apparently these people see defeat. And so what they're going to do, they're drawing the people from the south to come and take over, in order that the son of Jacob would not rise. Even those of, should I say, black folks won't rise at all or become as equals, because everything else is fallen. It's just a matter of time. Picking wars and trying to do all these things, but yet using plausible deniability to hide their hands while they throw stones and instigate fights and everything. Notice, I even noticed when the leader was talking to the Black Caucus, he was giving his sad, should I say, benediction of how everything was going to fall. And this is really, if you think about it, is what he was saying. Apparently he was really in doubt of his own leadership and in doubt of the way that his country is going to go. And now here you got this here, and you got many moving into different places of the other countries of his people. But now I digress. Some of you know what I'm saying and some of you don't. But either way, here now in verse 8, now all of you have conspired against me, and there is none that showeth me that my son hath made a league with the son of Jesse. Now verse 9, we're going to go over a little bit more. I get to talking, I lose my spot. And then answered Doeg, the Edomite, which was set over the servants of Saul, and he said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob to Ahimelech, that is the priest Ahimelech, in that portable temple, the son of Ahitub. And he inquired the I am for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath, the Philistine. Then the king sent to all Ahimelech the priest and the son of Ahitub, and all his father's house, and the priests that were in Nob, and they all came, all of him, to the king. And Saul said, Hear now, thou son of Ahitub. And he answered, Here I am, my king. And Saul said unto him, Why have ye conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in that thou givest him bread and his sword, and hast inquired of God for him, that he should rise against me, and lie in wait as this day? This guy, I mean, this is somewhat of what we experience today, the children of Jacob, with the children of God's jealousy and God's chastisement. We deal with this every day. And it pains us to see how they paganize the things of God, which really is a reflection of the things that we did, our ancestors. Even to this day, we still are pagans to the things that God told us not to do, like having other gods before him, even if it's written what we call a holy book. We have to shun these things, push them aside, because God never changes. One day we will get this, and we will get the memo that this thing never occurred, or it is something that you should not even be a part of, because this is not your God. Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, And who is so faithful among all thy servants as David? He wasn't afraid of the king. Ahimelech, this is a clear evidence that Ahimelech was not afraid of Saul, which is the king's sons-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thy house. He said, what kind of screwed up mind you got, man? In verse 15, Then I began to inquire of God for him, be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor do to all the house of my father. For thy servant know nothing of all this, less or more. I didn't know what was going on between him and you got this deranged mind accusing me of favoring him over you and all this other stuff, and I don't even know what's going on. And I adjure you, don't bring this upon my family. And the king said, thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. This is the madness that has engulfed Saul. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him. Now madness is when one stands, even a race of people or a group of people, is when they stand in false accusations to say that even the black man is mad, he's a savage. But yet you act more of the savage as the black man do. Look at your people. Look at how they act toward the black man. Yes, there are black men these days that fight other black men and demise each other and have fights, but isn't there even more among you? Huh? But you try to divert those things and have the attention put toward those you are very jealous of and that you are fearful of their rising. Ah, yes, these things these wasn't even contrasted. They were the same color, all of them, black. And the king said to Doeg, turn thou and fall upon the priests. And Doeg the Edomite, you can understand the Edomite, he wants to tear up Jacob. This is what he wants to do. And he fell upon the priest and slew on that day 65 persons that did wear a linen ephod. Levites, those who were God's portion amongst the children of Jacob, who would minister to the Most High. Here he got an Edomite, a child of his arch enemy, a child even Esau, his own brother. Now this Edomite wasn't white, as some of you would put. Matter of fact, to tell you the truth, Edom is still Edom. I wouldn't be surprised some of these other African presidents are Edomites, and that they go against their own people, especially those who would be the children of Jacob. And he fell upon the priest and slew on that day 85 persons. Or should I say 85 persons, and did wear a linen ephod, that did wear a linen ephod. And Nob, the city of the priest, smote he with the edge of the sword. Now he killing all God's priests, all the Levites, as many as he can, both men and women, children and suckling. These are the ones that would not marry outside of their tribe, even the tribe of Levi. He slaughtered many Levites, this Edomite. He said, in oxen and asses, even the sacrifice to the Most High, and their food and sheep with the edge of the sword, this Edomite. Is not this the wrath of the Most High toward his own people because of their sin? Because every man, even in that day, did what seemeth right in his own eyes, even though they were in the should I say, the temple. There were Levites who turned to idols and everything else. But they would do both at the same time. Idols and God and idols. God said, away with this. Do you think that your child, your baby, it means a lot to God when your heart would be the same as the heart of the baby? God is something else. I mean, God is powerful. He has no respect of persons, from the suckling even to the elder. Neither the poor nor the rich. He has no respect of persons. None. To give you a brief picture of how God is, he is the creator, period. This is Yahweh, Yahuwah, Ya'Allah, the Heya, the I am, Sanini Nanini, even Tata and Zami. He has no respect of persons. And Abiathar showed David that Saul had slain the I am's priest. And David said unto Abiathar, I knew it that day when Doeg the Edomite was there. The Edomite, anywhere there's going to be animosity, or there's going to be some type of slaying or whatever, or putting down the children of Jacob, Esau is going to be there. He would be the one you can count on, even among the African presidents and all the different presidents and leaders of the land, even some of your black caucus and everything else that you have, Edomites. Not everybody's Jacob just because they're black. Get out of here. They even hid it among the people, white and black, the Edomites are. He that should surely tell Saul, I have occasioned the death of all the persons of thy father's house. Abide thou with me, fear not. This is Abiathar. It's a priest, yes. Fear not, for he that seeketh thy life, seeketh my life, seeketh thy life. But with thou me, thou shalt be in safeguard. But why? Because why? God is going to be with Abiathar. Yes. And with that, we're going to say that your enemies, even the enemies of Jacob, very cunning and very deceitful, and will go against anyone that protects you. Look at what's happening over in the countries that decided they are going to build themselves up and use those things which God have given them, even their resources, to build themselves up and cause themselves to be that which they should have been a long time ago. And even to the point where they deem their slavers and their, should I say, colonizers as dung, and will treat them as such. And so it is, and so it shall be. And with that, when we follow the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, even His laws, we will have peace.
Walk with me.